Welcome, brave souls, to a realm where shadows whisper secrets too vile for the light. I'm here to unravel tales so chilling that your skin will crawl long after the silence falls. Help me reach my first 1,000 subscribers, hit that button now, and together, let's unearth the horrors awaiting us tonight. Moving to Maplewood was supposed to be our fresh start, a new chapter for my family, me, James, and our little Noah. The quiet suburban streets welcomed us with open arms as we pulled up to our new home. Neighbors waved and smiled, their warmth making me feel like we'd already found a community. As we unloaded our belongings, I noticed one figure who didn't friendly. Mr. Graves, as I later learned, stood apart, his eyes fixed on us, with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. It was fleeting but unsettling. Noah clung to me the moment he saw Mr. Graves, his usual giggles replaced by a fearful grip on my leg. I tried to brush it off as the jitters of a new place, but that night, as I tucked Noah into bed, I spotted Mr. Graves again. There he was, standing by our fence, his gaze locked on our house. A neighbor, noticing my unease, whispered a piece of advice that stuck with me. Just keep your doors locked at night. It was a simple suggestion, but it carried a weight that made me wonder what secrets Maplewood was hiding. As I lay in bed that night, the excitement of our new beginning was tinged with a creeping sense of unease. What had we moved into? And who was Mr. Graves, really? The next day, as we continued to unpack, Mr. Graves approached James in our front yard. He offered to help with the furniture, his eyes never leaving our son. There was something off about him. His movements were too eager, his gaze too intense. I felt a knot in my stomach watching him, but James, always the polite one, accepted his help. Every time I glanced at Mr. Graves, he seemed to be watching Noah, his eyes filled with a strange fixation. It was as if he was trying to memorize every detail of our son. That night, just as we were settling down, a knock echoed through our home at 10:30 p.m. My heart raced as James went to answer it. It was Mr. Graves again, this time asking for a favor. The audacity of it all made James's jaw clench. He firmly told him to leave, and as he shut the door, we could hear Mr. Graves muttering to himself outside. Later, as I tried to put Noah to bed, he refused to stay in his room. His small voice trembled as he whispered, "The man is outside." My heart ached for my little boy, and the fear in his eyes mirrored the growing dread in my own heart. What was it about Mr. Graves that had us all on edge, and what did he want with our family? The days that followed were filled with a growing sense of unease. Everywhere I went, I started noticing Mr. Graves. First, it was outside the grocery store. His eyes locked on me as I pushed Noah in the cart. Then, at the local park, I saw him sitting on a bench, watching us play. His presence felt like a dark cloud hanging over our new life. One afternoon, as Noah and I were enjoying the swings, Mr. Graves approached us. He held out a strange, old toy, a wooden car. Noah reached for it, but something about the way Mr. Graves looked at him made my blood run cold. I yanked Noah away and hurried us home, my heart pounding in my chest. Later, I reported the incidents to our landlord, hoping for some reassurance. But he just brushed me off, saying Mr. Graves was harmless. It felt like no one was taking our concerns seriously. That evening, curiosity got the better of me, and I examined the toy Mr. Graves had tried to give Noah. My stomach dropped when I found a message carved into the wood. "He looks just like my son." The words sent a chill through me. What did Mr. Graves mean by that? And why was he so fixated on our little boy? The tension in our home was palpable. Every shadow seemed to hold a threat. every noise a potential danger. One evening, James caught Mr. Graves lurking near our garage. Without hesitation, he confronted him, his voice sharp with anger. "Mister?" Graves just grinned, his response chilling. "I was just making sure no one else is watching your son." The cryptic words hung in the air, leaving us more unsettled than ever. That night, as we tried to sleep, strange noises echoed from the backyard. It sounded like someone was shuffling around, trying to be quiet but failing. We lay awake, hearts racing, until the sounds finally stopped. In the morning, my worst fears were confirmed when I found footprints outside Noah's room window. The sight of them sent a wave of fear through me. How close had Mr. Graves gotten to our son? Determined to protect our family, we decided to take action. That day, we installed security cameras around our home. It was a small comfort, but at least now, we could keep an eye on things. As I watched the cameras flicker to life, I wondered, what would Mr. Graves do next? And how far would he go to get to Noah? With James away on business, it was just me and Noah at home. We spent the evening trying to enjoy some quiet time, but the tension from recent events lingered in the air. As I tucked Noah into bed, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. Around midnight, a sharp knock jolted me from my thoughts. My heart raced as I rushed to the security camera. There he was, Mr. Graves, staring directly into the lens, his lips moving as if whispering something. The sight of him sent a chill down my spine. Moments later, the doorknob began to rattle violently. Panic surged through me. I called the police, my voice trembling as I explained the situation. Then, I grabbed a kitchen knife and hid in the closet with Noah, my arms wrapped tightly around him. Outside, Mr. Graves started kicking at the door, his screams echoing through the night. The sound of police sirens grew closer. Just as the door began to splinter, the police arrived. They tackled Mr. Graves, pulling him away from our home. As I watched the security footage later, my blood ran cold. Just before his arrest, Mr. Graves looked directly into the camera and mouthed the words, "He's my son. That thing disgusts me." What did he mean by that? And why would he go to claim Noah as his own? The next morning, James and I headed to the police station, still shaken from the night before. We needed answers. We needed them now. The officer who greeted us was kind but serious, and he led us to a small room where he began to explain everything. It turned out that Mr. Graves had lost his own son in a tragic accident years ago. The grief had driven him to the edge, and he had fixated on Noah, seeing him as a replacement for his lost child. But there was more. The officer revealed that our landlord had been paid off to ignore Mr. Graves' past offenses. It explained why our concerns had been brushed aside so easily. Anger surged through me. How could someone be so callous with our safety? The police assured us that Mr. Graves would be institutionalized, where he could get the help he desperately needed. And as for the landlord, he would face legal consequences for his negligence. There was a small comfort, but at least justice would be served. As we left the station, I held Noah's hand tightly, grateful that we were safe. The ordeal had been terrifying, but it was over now. We could finally start to heal and move forward, leaving the shadows of Maplewood behind us. Moving into this quiet, affordable apartment felt like the fresh start I desperately needed. The rundown complex on the outskirts of town was far from perfect, but it was mine, a place to rebuild my life. As I unpacked my few belongings, the eerie silence of the building wrapped around me like a heavy blanket. It was as if the walls themselves were holding their breath, waiting for something to happen. That first night, as I made my way back to my apartment after a late-night grocery run, I encountered him. There, sitting in the dimly lit stairwell, was a disheveled young man. He was clutching an old pocket watch, mumbling incoherently to himself. I tried to step past him quietly, not wanting to disturb his strange ritual, but as I moved, his hand shot out and gripped my ankle with surprising strength. "Time doesn't move here," he whispered, his eyes wide and unblinking. A chill ran down my spine as I pulled away, hurrying up the stairs to the safety of my new home. But his words echoed in my mind, mingling with the unsettling silence of the empty hallway. What had I stumbled into? And who was this mysterious man with the pocket watch? The days that followed my unsettling encounter with Daniel only deepened the sense of unease that had settled over me. The dimly lit corridors of the apartment complex seemed to grow more claustrophobic with each passing day, the walls closing in as if they were trying to trap me. And there he was, Daniel, always in the stairwell, his eyes fixed on that old pocket watch as if it held the secrets of the universe. Every time I see him, I feel a sense of dread. It wasn't just his disheveled appearance or the way he mumbled to himself. It was the intensity with which he stared at that watch, as if time itself was his enemy. I tried to avoid him, taking the stairs at different times or using the elevator, but it seemed like he was always there, watching, waiting. One evening, as I hurried past him, an elderly woman suddenly appeared beside me. She was Mrs. Holloway, a neighbor I'd seen a few times but never spoken to. Her eyes were sharp, and her voice was firm as she grabbed my arm and whispered urgently, "Ignore the boy. He hasn't left in years." Before I could respond, she vanished down the hallway, leaving me standing there, more confused than ever. As I turned to leave, a passing neighbor muttered under his breath, "Talking to ghosts again?" and chuckled to himself as he walked away. The words echoed in my mind, mingling with the memory of Daniel's grip on my ankle and his haunting whisper about time standing still. What was going on in this place? And who was Daniel, really? The more I tried to understand, the more the mystery seemed to deepen, pulling me further into its unsettling embrace. Late at night, the silence of my apartment was shattered by violent noises coming from the hallway. My heart raced as I crept to the door and peered through the peephole. There, in the dim light, I saw Daniel. He was banging his head against the wall with a ferocity that made my stomach churn. Mrs. Holloway was there too, her voice a desperate plea as she tried to stop him. Suddenly, Daniel's eyes locked onto mine through the peephole. In an instant, he sprinted toward my door, his face contorted with rage. I barely had time to react before he was pounding on it, trying to break through. Panic surged through me, and when he finally managed to force the door open, I instinctively struck him, sending him stumbling back. As Daniel retreated, Mrs. Holloway's voice cut through the chaos. She screamed that I had damned them both. The weight of her words hung heavy in the air as I slammed the door shut, my heart pounding in my chest. The next morning, as I stepped out of my apartment, I froze. There, right outside my door, was a pool of blood. It was stark against the worn carpet, a silent testament to the night's violence. But as I looked around, no one else seemed to notice it. Neighbors walked by, chatting and going about their day, completely oblivious to the crimson stain at my feet. The mystery deepened, and with it, my sense of dread. What had I gotten myself into, and what did Mrs. Holloway mean by her ominous warning? The blood trail was just the beginning. That evening, as I returned to my apartment, I saw something hanging from my door handle. It was a doll's head, wrapped tightly in black string, its lifeless eyes staring at me with an eerie intensity. I removed it with trembling hands, my anxiety intensifying with each moment. I called the police, hoping they could shed some light on this disturbing gift. But when they arrived, they dismissed it as a prank, a cruel joke played by someone with too much time on their hands. They left, leaving me alone with my fears and the haunting image of the doll's head. Deep down, I knew it wasn't just a prank. Daniel had to be behind it. His presence in the building, his obsession with the pocket watch, and the violent encounter we'd had, it all pointed to him. I needed answers, and there was only one person who might be able to give them to me: Mrs. Holloway. I found her in the hallway, her eyes narrowing as I approached. When I confronted her about Daniel and the doll's head, her response was immediate angry. She insisted that Daniel had been dead for years, her voice rising with each word. The revelation hit me like a punch to the gut. If Daniel was dead, then who or what had I been seeing? Determined to prove that Daniel was real, I made my way to the apartment I'd seen him enter before. It was tucked away in a corner of the complex, its door worn and neglected. As I approached, a neighbor passing by scoffed, shaking his head and muttering that the apartment had been empty forever. Ignoring his words, I knocked on the door, my heart pounding with anticipation. There was no answer, just the heavy silence that seemed to permeate this place. Frustration and desperation fueling me, I forced the door open, the old lock giving way with a creak. Inside, the air was thick with dust, and the furniture was covered in a layer of grime, untouched for what seemed like years. It was clear no one had lived here in a long time. My heart sank as I realized that maybe the neighbor was right. Maybe this place was truly abandoned. But then, something caught my eye. On the wall, amidst the dust and cobwebs, hung an old photo. It was faded, but the faces were unmistakable. Mrs. Holloway, looking much younger, stood next to a boy who could only be Daniel. The date on the photo read 1976, confirming what Mrs. Holloway had said: Daniel had been dead for years. It was 3 a.m. when a strange noise jolted me awake, a sound coming from the kitchen. I crept out of bed, my senses on high alert, and as I entered the kitchen, a shadow darted past me, giving me goosebumps. There, on the counter, was the old pocket watch I'd seen Daniel clutching so many times. It was ticking erratically, as if struggling against some unseen force. I reached out to touch it, but before I could, a voice behind me made me freeze. Turning around, I saw Daniel standing there, a grin spreading across his face. In his hand, he held a dead rat, its lifeless body dangling grotesquely. The sight was enough to make my stomach turn, but it was his words that truly haunted me. "Time doesn't move here," he repeated, his voice echoing in the stillness of the night. And then, just as suddenly as he had appeared, he vanished into thin air, leaving me alone with the ticking watch and the chilling realization that there was more to this place than I could ever have imagined. The truth was hidden in the clock, in the erratic ticking that seemed to defy the passage of time. Daniel's presence, his obsession with the watch, and now this eerie encounter, all of which points to a deeper mystery, and I must face it. I woke up in a hospital bed, the sterile smell of the room hitting me like a wave. My head was pounding, and as my eyes adjusted to the light, I saw my mother sitting beside me, her eyes red from crying. She reached out, taking my hand in hers, and began to explain everything. My wife had died in a car accident 5 years ago, and the grief had been too much for me to bear. I had stopped taking my medication, and the hallucinations had taken over. The apartment, Daniel, Mrs. Holloway, it was all a product of my fractured mind, a desperate attempt to escape the pain of losing my wife. My mother told me that she had no choice but to have me admitted to the hospital for treatment. The doctors worked tirelessly to help me, and over the years, I slowly began to recover. It was a long and painful journey, but eventually, I accepted that my wife was gone. Yet, even as I moved forward, the memories of those hallucinations lingered. The eerie silence of the apartment, the pocket watch, the blood trail, the doll's head, and Daniel's haunting words about time standing still, they all felt so real, so vivid. They were a part of me now, a reminder of the darkness I had faced and overcome. As I sat there, looking out the window at the world beyond, I knew I had broken the illusion, but the journey had changed me, and I would carry the echoes of those whispers in the empty hallway with me forever. It's the summer of '93, and I'm just an 11-year-old kid named Stacy, living in a sleepy Nebraska town where the cornfields stretch out forever. My buddies and I spend our days chasing each other around an old abandoned barn at the edge of those fields. It's a place that's always been wrapped in ghost stories and whispers, making it the perfect playground for us. One afternoon, as we're poking around, we stumble upon something weird footprints. They lead right to the barn, but then they just vanish into thin air halfway there. It's creepy, sure, but it's also exciting. We're about to dig deeper when I spot something else. A dusty green pickup truck, parked way down the road. It's just sitting there, and I can see the driver watching us. It gives me a shiver, but I brush it off. As we hang around the barn, it starts making these strange creaking sounds. There's no wind, no reason for it, but there it is, like the barn itself is trying to tell us something. We decide to call it a day, but those footprints and that truck stick in my mind. What's going on in this quiet little town of ours? The days after finding those mysterious footprints, the green truck keeps popping up. It's like it's haunting me and Jean. We see it parked on the gravel road near my house, just sitting there, never moving. The driver never steps out, just watches. It's weird, and it's starting to creep us out. One evening, I'm walking home alone, the sun dipping low over the endless fields. That's when I hear it, the faint rumble of an engine. I glance back, and there it is, the green truck, trailing me. The closer I get to my house, the slower it moves, like it's stalking me. My heart starts racing. What's even weirder are the headlights. They flicker, not like they're broken, but like they're trying to signal something. It's eerie, and I can't shake the feeling that this truck and its driver are connected to the strange happenings at the barn. I pick up my pace, eager to get home and away from whatever this is. Jean and I can't shake the mystery of those footprints, so we head back to the barn in the late afternoon, thinking maybe it's just some animal messing around. But as soon as we step inside, we spot a small pile of cigarette butts. Someone's been here, and recently. A chill runs down my spine when I hear a soft cough coming from the loft. It's not the wind or some critter, it's a person. My heart pounds as I glance up, and there, dangling from a wooden beam, is a piece of torn fabric. It looks like someone got caught up there. We don't stick around to find out more. We bolt out of the barn, our feet pounding the dirt path. As we reach the road, my eyes catch the green truck again. It's parked in a nearby ditch, but as soon as it sees us, it roars to life and speeds away. It's early evening, and I'm hanging out in my front yard, trying to shake off the creepy feeling from the barn. That's when I hear it, the familiar hum of an engine. My heart sinks as I see the green truck rolling up, stopping right in front of my driveway. The driver, a tall, thin man with hollow cheeks, stares at me through the windshield. His eyes lock onto mine, and I freeze. It's like he's looking right through me. My breath catches as he slowly reaches for the truck's door handle. My dad's words echo in my head. If a stranger ever makes you feel scared, run. Asterisk. But I can't move. All I can focus on is the unsettling pattern of his fingers tapping rhythmically against the steering wheel. It's like he's counting down to something. Finally, my legs kick into gear. I turn and bolt towards the house, the fear pushing me forward. I don't look back, but I can feel his eyes on me, watching every step I take. I'm sprinting down the gravel road towards my house, my heartbeat echoing in my chest. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I see the man from the green truck stepping out. He moves faster than I expected, closing the gap between us quickly. Just as I reach the porch, gasping for breath, I hear him mutter something under his breath. It's low and chilling, but I swear I catch the words. Not today, but soon. It is a very scary feeling. Before I can even process what he said, the truck roars to life behind him. It reverses at full speed, kicking up dust and gravel as it disappears into the distance. I'm frozen on the porch trying to make sense of it all. Then, my dad bursts out of the house, his face a mix of concern and confusion. He rushes over to me, asking what happened. I can barely get the words out, but I tell him about the man in the truck. That night, I can't shake off the fear. I toss and turn in my bed, and before I know it, I'm plunged into a vivid nightmare. I'm running through an endless cornfield, the stalks towering over me like silent sentinels. Behind me, the green truck's headlights cut through the darkness, closing in fast. The driver's face flashes in the beams, grinning unnaturally, almost like he's enjoying the chase. I try to outrun him, but the truck keeps getting closer. Just when it feels like it's about to hit me, I wake up drenched in sweat. I sit up, trying to catch my breath, when I hear my dad's voice. He's on the phone in the next room, his tone serious. I creep closer to listen. The police have received reports of a suspicious man lurking around town. My ears perk up as I hear them describe someone who matches the driver of the green truck. They even mention that he was seen near the school last week. My mind races. It's all connected: the footprints, the barn, the truck, and now this. I can't just sit here. I slip out of bed and peek outside. There, in the yard, I spot fresh tire tracks. They're unmistakable, the same as the green trucks. The truth is chilling, but at least now I know I'm not imagining things. Something's definitely going on, and it's closer to home than I ever thought.